And the big show continues. It's Josh Groban. How you doing?
I'm great.
It's been amazing, kind of over the last couple of weeks. I've been talking to Ro over at Warner Brothers, and he's kind of been keeping me updated on how you're doing.
Sure.
And you're basically kind of exploding as far as it comes to mainstream publicity.
Things have been pretty fast moving lately, and in a good way. It's been really I've been really overwhelmed with the reaction.
I was at Amazon.com last week, and I noticed you had the number one album there
Yeah,
for.
for 2 days. Like after Ally
Wow.
McBeal aired, that song just kind of took off, and the album was number one, and it's number 9 or 10 now, and it's doing great.
You've been hanging around with a lot of very cool people, and we'll talk about some of those people.
Yeah.
But what do you think? I mean, you're sitting here and you're selling, maybe probably, well, this week you might have sold, maybe 20,000, maybe even more records than
Sure.
that. What What are your thoughts on this whole thing? Is it a foregone conclusion that you're going to be a huge star? What?
No, it never is. I mean, we all keep our fingers crossed, and we all knock on wood, and we all have the certainty that we've done great work, and we're all very proud of the album. I mean, David Foster and I worked so hard on this album the last year, finding the right music, and I just had to sing my ass off the last year, and we've really kind of done some great work, and so we're proud of that. But in terms of how people will react and how big the album will be and how famous you'll get, I mean, that kind of thing you never even think about that, and you do your best to market and all that. But so far we've got a great start, so we're keeping our fingers crossed.
Yeah, you certainly do. So what has it been like releasing your first album? Was it just kind of a magical experience?
Completely, yeah. It was kind of surreal because I think the day that my album was released, I was competing with I think Pink and Kid Rock
And Creed.
and the Kiss box set, and about every legend under the sun was coming out the day that mine was. So, my friends and I, we were big dorks. We gathered around at Virgin Records at midnight, and they all bought my CD. And I was worried. God, I wonder if they'll even have it because on the Virgin radio there, they were saying, oh, they're going to have be sure to buy Cocky from Kid Rock and Pink and all these guys. And they didn't mention my name, and I was thinking, oh, brother, this is going to be a slow start. But no, they had a whole box, and we bought them. And as with any new artist, it was a slow first few days. The stores didn't know who I was, but we had so many people who remembered who I was from Alan McBeal, and so many people on my website that went to the stores around the country and asked for it and requested it. And that week, I think I sold like 10,000 copies just that week, and the stores kind of started picking up notice, and now they're reordering, and now we've kind of got a momentum going. So I really thank the fans and thank the people that remembered for asking for it.
Right. You definitely have some cherry spots coming up. Like we were talking about before we got started, you're going to be on the Today Show on New Year's Day.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting. We did that. It was taped last week, and I just came back from New York, and it's going to be the New Year's Day special. And I sang "To Where You Are" from Ally McBeal from the Christmas episode that I did, and I had a band there, and it was really cool, and the Christmas tree was up, and it was a really fun time, and it was great to be back in New York. And also that day, we shot a special in Las Vegas, the Brian Boitano skating special that he does every year on New Year's Day, and he saw me on Ally McBeal and wanted to skate to two songs, "You're Still You" and "The Prayer" that I did with Charlotte, and so he and Christy Yamaguchi skated while I was on a little stage singing live. So that was a real thrill to do, and that will also be on New Year's Day.
Speaking of Charlotte, you're actually performing with her at the Olympics this year?
Yeah, we are so psyched about that. We've done a couple of things together. We did her PBS special together, and we did a CBS special that's going to be aired on the 21st together called "A Home for the Holidays." But this really takes the cake. I mean, when we found out that the producers of the Olympics wanted "The Prayer" as the song for the taking out of the flame, we were just blown away, and we're really honored to be part of that roster.
That's going to make you proud, especially more so probably this year.
Oh,
doesn't it?
We couldn't have asked for a better place to put it. I'm so glad it's in America, and I'm so glad that it's going to be the first concert, one of the first concerts since all this happened, that all the nations are going to be together in one place, and it's going to have a real special meaning, I think, more so than just sports.
I got to ask, how did you end up on Ally McBeal in the first place?
I did a charity event in Los Angeles called a Family Celebration, and it was hosted by Bill Clinton and President Ford, and it was for about 7 different major charities in the area. And David E. Kelley was in the audience, as well as the cast of Ally McBeal, and they saw me perform. I did the prayer that day, and it went really well. I was really worried because I was performance-wise, I was sandwiched between Ray Charles and B.B. King. So I was thinking, oh man,
that's a little hard to live up to.
That was very impossible, but I did my best, and it got a great reaction. And about 3 days later, I found out that he wanted to put the song in the show, and then about 3 weeks later, I got a script and realized that I was actually in the show. So it was kind of one surprise after another.
What was it like working with David Foster? Because when I think of David Foster, I think of he's obviously a legend, but he's more than a legend. He's kind of like he ranks up there with like some of the greatest producers of all time. When I think of producers, David Foster, Mutt Lange, people like that.
Of course, he's 14 Grammys. He's worked for Chicago and Celine Dion and Whitney Houston. I Will Always Love You. When I first worked with him, when I first got that call from David Foster, David Foster's on the line. I'm like, who? Because I didn't read liner notes. I didn't, I just listened to the artist, and I just was like everybody else. I assumed that the artist does most of the producing, and sometimes they do. But with these pop singers, he really is just so known for his pop producing, and I didn't know that. And I went to his house, and I soon found out. And working with him was a blast because he has such great classical chops. He's such an amazing pianist, and to do a kind of project like this was a real thrill for him, and for me to work with someone like David was, he really took me under his wing. He really mentored me, so we'll always work together.
How did the Coors end up on the album? Was that because of David?
Well, the Coors were a band that David Foster and Brian Avnet, who's now my manager, kind of discovered. They walked into David's office, 5-10 years ago, and they were just a group of kids with guitars, and just blew them away. And they were signed to David's record label, 143 Records, and so they've known David for a really long time. And we got this song from a publishing company called Canto alla Vita, which means I Sing to Life, and it's just an amazing song. And we got Reese Fulber, who's worked with Delirium and a lot of underground electronica work, to produce it. And we were thinking, it's great. It sounds good with the vocal on it, but how could we make it edgier? What kind of a collaboration could we put on here to sing some English lyrics? And we were listening to a Coors record that day, and we just thought, wow, these guys would be great. So we called them up, and they were happy to do it, and we recorded them in Dublin, and we were just thrilled with the way it came out, because I would have never thought that my kind of singing and the Coors would be a good combination, but it really worked.
Mm-hmm. Did you get a chance to meet all of them then?
Nope, still haven't met them.
Oh, you haven't met them actually?
I haven't met them. I've talked to them over the phone. I've talked to them over the board because they were in Dublin and we were in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
So we recorded them there, but I'm yet to shake hands with them. We were supposed to meet up for a couple of concerts, and I think Andrea got sick, so we weren't able to do that. But we will. I think we're going to be doing probably a music video sometime very soon together, and we talk to each other all the time, but I haven't met them in person. That's technology nowadays. It's just we were able to collaborate in separate countries.
Do you know what Warner Brothers' strategy is for you? Is it to kind of cross you over into a pop vein, or do they want to kind of leave you to that niche audience that obviously still buys a lot of records?
Sure. Well, one of the wonderful things about Warner Brothers and why I'm so happy to be there is that there is no plan. There's no. Our plan so far has been that people have listened to it and enjoyed it and spread the word. And when they got into this, because Warner Brothers is not like Decca, they're not like Sony, who have known to have, quote, classical crossover artists, or classical artists. They've got Warner Classics, but this was a very new project for them. Warner Brothers Records being a pop label, pop, jazz and rock, and for them to take this on was great. And they we don't know yet what the genre is. I look at it, and they look at it as a pop record with classical influence.
Mm-hmm.
But we have gotten a response from people who listen to all sorts of things. The response on the website has been from people like 12 to 70 who listen to everything from Creed and Linkin Park to Enya and Andrea Bocelli and Sarah Brightman. So we're reaching everybody. And then real diehard classical critics who only listen to Pavarotti have kind of found this music to be really intriguing because it's mostly original music, and we try to do something different. So we haven't really had any negative feedback from almost anybody, but we don't know yet what it is. People are just listening to it and enjoying it right now. We're happy with that.
I'm kind of a rock guy myself. Well,
Oh yeah.
I'm a big rock guy.
Cool. Well, me too.
And I guess it comes down to I was listening to your CD, and I'm like, wow, this is great.
Cool. Thanks.
And it comes down to whether it's good or not. There's good music and bad music, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So.
Sure. But people definitely have their opinions about which is and which isn't. But I think for the most part you're right. I mean, I'm a rock guy too. I grew up playing the drums and wanting to be in a rock band, and I listen to to everything from Tool and System of a Down to Disturbed sometimes if I'm really angry. But to me, the music, when the music was presented to me, and because of the kind of voice that I have, it was just good. And I felt like it doesn't matter what genre you're singing in as long as it can touch people. And hopefully, one day maybe I'll cross over into that genre and see if we can mix something up with rock and opera. But yeah, I listen to everything.
Who's your favorite drummer?
My favorite drummer? God, I've got a lot. David Garibaldi's amazing. Steve Gadd. I've really been kind of into Carter Beauford from Dave Matthews Band.
Oh, okay.
He's completely ambidextrous, and he's just insane. He's got a real Dennis Chambers influence, and I've been really kind of playing to a lot of Dave Matthews stuff. But yeah, no, I like Steve Gadd a lot from his work with Paul Simon. Doing that Concert in the Park stuff was really cool. With those a lot of those ethnic instruments were really great.
You're probably too young to remember Rick Allen, but how can you not love a one-armed drummer, the guy from Def Leppard?
From Def Leppard, I met him.
You did?
Yeah, I was at a charity. I was doing another charity, and it was just him and his. I'm not sure it was his girlfriend or his wife, but he was there and having dinner, and I bumped into him in the bathroom, and I said, "Oh my God, I'm sorry, this is awkward. We're in the bathroom together, but I have to shake your hand. This is. I'm such a fan, and I think he's amazing, and I've really kind of studied what he did with his kit to kind of to do what he did. A lot of his foot pedals, and
right.
I mean, he's really kind of inspirational. He's kind of changed the way people with all four limbs feel about how they use them.
Yeah, I'm sure he's been an inspiration to a lot of handicapped people. That's
of
for
course,
sure.
Of course. No, he's really shown that you can, if you put your mind to it, you can do anything.
Hey, I see you were influenced by Mandy Patinkin, and I loved Mandy Patinkin, especially when he was on. I watched Chicago Hope.
Yeah,
and that's where I became a fan of Mandy Patinkin, because I just thought he was so great. And occasionally he'd sing a little bit on the show, and then of course that was awesome.
That was a great show for him.
The one thing I don't like about Mandy is that he kind of tends to be out of the public eye more. He's a Broadway guy, and he doesn't do a lot of mainstream stuff.
Exactly. Well, that was what I thought I'd be doing before all this happened. I never expected to be mainstream. I never expected to be in the public eye more than people buying tickets to see a theater show. So coming from that world, those are the kind of people I look up to: George Hearn and Mandy Patinkin and Bernadette Peters and all those guys. But yeah, I think in what he never does anything where he's not unique and wonderful. I think he's like Princess Bride. I thought he was great.
Right.
And then the first thing I saw him in was Sunday in the Park with George, which is a Sondheim musical. It's just one of my favorites. And he just he's got a very unique voice. I mean, some people like, some people don't, but I think it's just he's one of those people that knows how to tell a story in a song, and I always kind of look to those kind of people for inspiration.
I see that you recorded a song that maybe one day will be released. I would assume it will be, with Barbra Streisand.
Yeah, that, who knows? I mean, it was a project that David Foster wanted to kind of put together, and Barbra hadn't recorded her vocal yet, and it was going to be Barbra, and they didn't know who the other singer was going to be yet, and I had originally sung that song as a demo for Andrea Bocelli, and I don't think Andrea Bocelli used it and didn't want to do it or something. And so David said, "Why don't you go on in and sing the vocal?" And I sang the vocal to Barbara's track, and I mean that was just amazing to do that. And we went out to Barbara the next night and played it for her, and we talked about it, and she loved it, and we were going to use it. And I guess Sony things got involved with the labels, and it won't be released on. Can't be released on a CD that I put out before it's put out on her CD. So it was really up to Sony to decide how the deal is made and when it comes out. So it may not, but it was definitely fun to work with her and to meet her and to sing that song.
Isn't she like Garth Brooks and some other people where she's like retired 1,000 times by now?
I think it's safe to say she's retired from performing live. I think she's been probably waiting to do that for a long time, because I know she said she's got a real stage fright.
Now, you got to meet her. What was she like? I mean, because she comes off, to the mainstream public, probably a little bit, is kind of nuts politically. It's all about politics, it seems.
Well, definitely during the presidential race, she had a very clear view.
Has she left the country, by the way, yet?
I'm not sure she has, but I know, I certainly know, and it's on her website now, that she's, since everything that's happened, she's definitely made a point for everybody to support their president. She's not that stubborn in terms of her politics, but yeah, we worked together. I was hired to do the Al Gore fundraiser, so we did that show together. But and from that and her, I watched her speech, and she can write a speech. She knows what she's talking about. So
you gotta love her, but she's kind of nuts. but then again, everybody's kind of nuts.
Everybody's, believe me. The number one thing I've found is that everybody's kind of nuts, and and I will be too, I'm sure. So business does funny things to people now, but.
Well, she's got a hell of a good voice, and I look forward to hearing that song with her.
I hope it makes it out, because I've got it tucked away in my bookshelf, and I listen to it from time to time. And it's a great song, and I do hope it surfaces. It's one that would be really, really great.
Hey, I like to ask this of everybody I talk to who's just put out a new album. What are you most proud of regarding the album?
Let me see. I think what I'm most proud of is how much I'm not shy in the studio anymore. When I first came into this project, that means a lot of things. I was so timid, and I would go into the vocal booth and think, oh my God, I'm singing for David Foster, and I would sit back on the couch and I'd watch him, do all the work after the vocal was done. And I had so many opinions about what the music should do and things like that I kind of sat back and I swallowed it. But towards the end of this album, it was a real 50-50 collaboration, and we were at the board together, and we were doing things, and it's even at some point he had to go do other things, and it was just me and the other producers just kind of making this album happen. So I really kind of learned a lot in terms of how the studio aspect of it works, mixing the board and working everything. So I guess the challenge was really just making the album. It was so many hurdles and so many songs that we thought wouldn't work that wound up working because we made the right decisions musically, and I'd say I'm just proud of the fact that we got it done, and I was able to get everything that I wanted to get out, and we put out the album that I wanted to make, and I'm proud of that.
You're his Luke Skywalker, and he's your Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That's exactly right. Yeah, you're not the first person who said that. It's true. I mean, he really kind of mentored me and took me under his wing, and pushed me beyond anything that I ever thought I could do, and I'm sure we will always be working together in the future.
Hey, last question. I hear you're kind of internet savvy. What's the best thing about the internet, in your opinion? Besides the porn.
Yeah, yes, of course. Besides that, I just have to say it's instant. That's what I like about it. When I see, and for me that's been great, because people would watch me on TV, no idea who this Josh Groban guy is, punch my name into the internet, and be able to buy my CD. And it's been great for me business-wise, and it's for me to find other people. It's been great. I find someone I like. I'll listen to a musician on public radio, or I'll see an obscure little concert in Los Angeles, and I won't really pick up the name of the band or whatever. And I'll go on the internet, and I'll be able to find anything I want about them, and know where to find their music, and find more about the band members, and find more about everything. It's just nonstop information, and of course, some people abuse that, but for anybody who just wants to find out anything there is about anything, it's just been great. It's been amazing, and it's also great to chat with my friends from college, because I miss them a lot, and I don't get to talk to them on the phone a whole lot. So chatting with them is fun too.
I got to say, one of the best things about your site, especially for me, kind of researching a little bit about you, was the video electronic press kit that you have on the site.
Cool.
I thought that was really cool with you and David.
Yeah, we went to one of the Warner studios, and we just kind of messed around and put it all on film, and we sang some of the songs through, and it was we turned it into a little EPK, and it kind of, for anybody who's interested in my story and how everything happened and what the songs are about, it's a great way to find out. If they want to click on to www.joshgroban.com, they can watch it, and we made a little music video, and they can watch that too, and they can listen to all the music.
Well, I appreciate the time, and good luck with the album. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks so much. Thank you for having me.
You got a great voice, and it's a great album.
Oh, thanks very much. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.